Word in that Priscilla Presley will not be buried next to Elvis, according to TMZ. The King's 77-year-old ex-wife reportedly made the request during negotiations for her late daughter Lisa Marie Presley's trust. Priscilla asked to be laid to rest on the Graceland property in Memphis, but was denied. Wow. Lisa Marie, who died in January, and her son Benjamin Kehoe are both buried there, along with several other members of the Presley family. Priscilla did receive millions of dollars in her settlement with Elvis Presley Enterprises over Lisa Marie's trust. Lisa Marie, the eldest daughter, Riley Keough, remains the official beneficiary of the late mother's trust. So that's the latest on that. On the air with us is Joe Max Higgins, CEO, Golden Triangle Development Link. Good morning, sir. How are you? It's good to have you.
I'm fine, sir.
Man, it's a big day for us. Tell us exactly what is going on now and where we are with this unbelievable operation that's about to begin as far as the groundbreaking is concerned.
You talking about the aluminum mill?
I'm talking about the aluminum mill, Steel Dynamics.
Yeah. Well, we are probably about 40 days out from getting all the permits finalized. They have started work. Got the new gas line layout from Atmos yesterday. One of the two on-site concrete plants have been installed. Expecting the second one soon. Finishing design on 8 buildings, not the big manufacturing building, but office buildings, locker rooms, cafeterias, those things. Water and sewer are all in permitting. They are moving dirt in the areas that they're permitted to do it. So, you've got these huge earth-moving trucks being loaded and relocating topsoil to areas that they can, and getting the pits ready to build the core of the building when they get their permits in place. So it's already turning into a little city, and I'm thinking probably by the end of June, 1st of July, it's going to be crazy out there.
It does say something about the deal that was cut, because specifically in Mississippi, we would build the cafeteria before we actually built the the manufacturing place. Let's put the cafeteria up first. That is amazing.
Paul, some of those buildings can be built that don't require air permits. But the other side of that is,
I got you.
We're expecting 2,000 employees or something like that out there working. And you got to feed the Army, so it's going to serve two purposes, I suspect.
What we have seen over the last years, you are absolutely right. And if people haven't visited any of these, then they have no idea the magnitude of them, because they're like cities within themselves, little medical facilities and everything else. And that bodes well for us. We're talking about this size of projects in our state. When you talk about square footage, can you put a square footage on here? Because you call it the largest in the state, so I guess it's larger than Continental and Nissan, and Blue Springs for that matter.
Well, I think when they put, and we didn't put that phrase on there, but when we say the largest project, what I think is being referred to as the largest project as far as one single capital investment, the $2.5 billion. I got you. That's the kicker. The main building and its associated buildings will be, somewhere between 2.5 and 3 million square feet. Some of those other facilities are as large or possibly larger. It's the capital investment that makes it so big. And probably the other thing is it's on a 2,200 acre site.
Are you worried about workforce development there? Are you worried about the number of employees that it's going to take? Because not only the 2,000, when it gets up to the full 2,000, Joe, but you're going to have ancillary things come in. We saw that with Nissan here. It took a few years, but it always happens now with Amazon. The growth spurt in Madison County is just absolutely incredible. It just keeps growing and growing. So are you worried a little bit about, do you have enough people there now that can handle these jobs?
Well, obviously it's something we're staying ever vigilant on. Job creation is not new to us. The Link's we'll celebrate our 20th birthday this coming month. We've created about 10,000 jobs in 20 years here. So I'd like to think we know how to do it. I'm not saying we won't be challenged on this deal, but, things that foresight and vision that we had 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, like building the communiversity to put people through and process them and screen them and do those kind of things, really is going to provide us an advantage. These guys are at the top of the food chain, meaning, they're paying six figures. So they're not worried about getting people. What our concerns are is you go down the food chain, somebody's ox is going to get gored, and we've got to figure out who that is and how we can help them.
Yeah. Is this one the nature as far as the Steel Dynamics to the point where it'll bring in different other type of businesses? Because you and I talked before. Let me quit rambling around. Here's what I'm talking about. Maybe a bottling company will come in because the aluminum is being made there. Yeah.
So I'm going to give Governor Reeves some credit in how he approached this thing. SDI did not just get incentives to build the aluminum mill. On that 2,200 acre campus, probably 600 acres or more has been set aside for customers, not vendors, not support companies, customers. And they have 12 lots platted there. They can have more, but right now it's got 12 lots platted there for companies that will want to take the product that's produced, whether it be the component aluminum for, say, automotive, the sheet aluminum for cans, or even, for that matter, exposed automotive exposed aluminum for automotive. Like my F-150 truck is all aluminum. So they've got a campus dedicated for that, and part of the incentives that were provided by the state are earmarked for that. So the intent is to minimize transportation costs, proximity, bottling, canning, automotive. All of those are on the table, and they are in active conversations with multiple. So we hosted one of those companies 2 weeks ago. Spent a day with them, talking about where they could go, how they would go, what it would look like.
You got to wonder what this whole Golden Triangle is going to look like maybe 10 or 15 years from now because of that one deal there. We talked about job and workforce development and availability of employees, but that's just with this one. You've got a lot of other things going on there too, and some people expanding. You got a little update for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. So, next week we're having the ribbon cutting on Columbia over at Starkville. They make real heavy machinery. They came into the old Gulf States building. The Taylor, the Taylor boys from Louisville and their partner.
Yes, yeah.
Turberg, they have started site work already, getting up to almost concrete in earnest to building that new truck plant that will manufacture about at max about 3,000 trucks a year. Initially 750. The biochar plant that's going to support the steel mill, not the aluminum plant, is under construction on a 100-acre site, about a $150 million project. And if we went over to Starkville today at the North Star Park, you'd see about $3.2 million worth of additional improvements there. We're clearing and grubbing and leveling some very large sites over there for them. And then this week, I guess, we kind of came out and told everybody that we have secured our fifth mega site, options on our fifth mega site, and it's named Cinco, number 5. And next week we meet with Atmos Gas and TVA and the local electric people, our engineers, our environmental folks, and we will start doing the documentation to get that mega site certified. It's about a 1,500-acre site, and to remind everybody, the first mega site we ever developed is home to a $2.5 billion steel mill. What initially has been expanded. The second mega site is home to about $1 billion engine plant for PACCAR. The third mega site is home to Yokohama, and the fourth mega site is home to the $2.5 billion.
That is absolutely amazing. Look, hold on for a second, because I hear, and I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get people in the Delta says, why can't we get some of that? Well, first of all, you got to get yourself a Joe Max, and that's another thing. But his advice to the Mississippi Delta: if tomorrow morning show Joe Max was putting together a conglomerate of Mississippi Delta counties, and how would he do it, and what would the Delta do? We'll ask from the wisdom of Joe Max coming up next. Seriously, though, because people always ask this. And the Golden Triangle, years and years ago, is probably where the Delta is today. As far as, do we get, everybody had an industrial park there, and they went unused for the most part. So if you were working in that area, you're looking at everything that they have now, but they've got the Mississippi River, which is even better than the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway. So what would your advice be?
Well, I've been doing this for 37 years, and in the early years, I wasn't a fan of regionalism. I've become to be one, mostly because of the resources that it provides. Generally, all of our counties are relatively small in Mississippi, and one county probably can't fund an organization at the level that it needs to be funded. That's why getting multiple counties together, it gives you multiple resources in that, different places for people to live, different school districts, different pros and different cons. And then you get the resources, the money to kind of pool it, to have a bigger staff, to have more specialized people that can help go out and do this stuff. But we call it show and go. We call what we do is the show, but building the industrial parks, infrastructure, building the roads, the railroads, we call that the go. And our policy has been, since we started, one county then added the other two, is we're the show, you're the go. And if you want an industrial park and you want to compete, you're going to have to put those resources to work. Several years ago, Starkville, Octave Hall County, without a bird in hand, issued $14 million worth of bonds and built a new industrial park. Lowndes County, right now on this Cinco mega site, is going to spend $450,000, probably closer to $5 million, just to do the due diligence, the cultural resources, the engineering, the surveys, all that stuff. So, finding a site, generally what happens is, years ago, Paul, when I was in Arkansas, I had two counties that were partners south of me, and they fell apart. And at the first meeting, one of the leaders from one of the communities said, "Hey, where are we going to put the first industry?"
Yeah, that's it. Very difficult to do, isn't it?
Somebody said, "Hey, it might be better if you let the industry pick where they go."
We did have, and I just thought about this, there was a bill, was it last year before last, that somebody tried to pass and funded, and the amount of money was unbelievable how much we were going to put in it. But I think it was a coalition of putting this thing together with a couple of counties in the Memphis area, some over across in Arkansas, and then the Delta area. But they were getting a lot more than we were getting for the money we had to pay. Do you think that's a good idea, teaming up with other states?
Well, it is, but it really gets complicated. Okay, so Lowndes County is a border with Alabama. I'm twice as close to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, as I am to Jackson, Mississippi. But when you start putting money and funds in, who gets what, where do the people live, where's the tax, where the people live and get the jobs is usually politicians' concerns. But if you really boil it down, where the deal locates is where the tax goes. And unless you do a sharing of ad valorem tax and those kind of things, it's still kind of one-sided. But, they're going to deal with it in Marshall and DeSoto County. My friend Chandler Russ down at Natchez deals with it with Vidalia. The coast, the coast, both sides. I mean, they've got workforce coming from Florida. They got workforce coming from Louisiana. And because all of us border, it sounds good. And now we have partnered with Alabama. They were just here last week. 3 of our counties to the east of us. And while we won't cite deals, together we have 6 congressmen and 4 U.S. senators. And working on issues like roads and stuff like that are important. And that works, in my opinion, that works well.
Well, it's hard enough to get the mayors together, but when you have competing mayors in different municipalities within the same state, but when you have different legislators in different states, the politics is on steroids. That's incredible.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, final thoughts, because I know you got a lot of things going on, and the final thoughts.
Well, I remember when we located the steel mill, a real prominent gentleman from here came in and said, you don't have to do anything else. You made your legacy. Just enjoy your time here and relax. And I said, we got to keep this thing going. We're a state that's last and everything good first and everything bad. And the only way we fix it is to swing for the fences and get some big deals and get some high-paid
That's it.
That's what we're doing. One of my peers believes if you grow a tropical fish into a whale, in my experience, my damn fish always die. My oldest fish always dies.
Hey, look, Joe Max, just because you win the Mega Millions doesn't mean you don't want to play Powerball. So you got to keep going. Thank you, man. Appreciate it very much. Have a great weekend. Always good to have you.